there are so many rules in Global War 36 that I decided to make a bunch of cheat sheets or reference cards, and I made a couple videos talking about these ones here, and I just like the visual, keeping track of everything that's happening in the game, from your IPPs to the individual powers. But maybe the reference cards that I use the most are these three right here. These are for the individual units. So let me start with the ground units. This page right here is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that I printed this out on. And I've got my infantry class units here, my vehicle class units there in sort of the brownish tones, and then the gray tones are the artillery class. And what I've done here is I have all of their values, right? So I've got their attack value, their defense value, the movement value, and then the cost. And then off to the side here, I have any special abilities that they have. And so for instance, let's take this infantry, just a regular old infantry. The attack value is 2, but it bumps up to 3 if they're accompanied by an artillery or self-propelled artillery. Their defense is 4, their movement is 1, their cost is 3, and then their 2 abilities are they get a +1 attack with artillery or self-propelled artillery, and you can upgrade them for $1, 1 IPP. You can upgrade them to a mechanized infantry if they're within the supply path. So yeah, so you have all that for all of these different units here. And these are the special infantry. I have them also color-coded, so the mountain, the paratroopers, the Marines, and the colonial infantry. And these colors actually mean something to me. So for instance, the colonial infantry, they're the exact same color, background color as the infantry, because basically that's all they are. They are infantry, and you don't need to know that they're special because they act the exact same way. The only difference is that you can buy them in a place that doesn't have a factory. So that's a colonial infantry. But these other three are color-coded, because when I first started playing the game, the way that I would denote the different types of units was I bought a whole bunch of these plastic pieces right here. They're sort of clear, see-through plastic pieces. And then if I wanted to say buy a mountain infantry, what I would do is I would just place one of these yellow tokens underneath them. And yeah, that's how I could tell. And they're kind of nice because they're see-through, and they're really super cheap. But what I've been doing is I've been slowly painting all of my pieces, like really slowly, but I'm getting through it. And so what I did was I color-coded painting them to these colors right here. So each power has its own base color. The Soviets are red, the Germans are gray, so on and so forth. And so the infantry have a base that is the same color as the country's or the power's base color. But I painted the militia, the bases are white, and then the mountain infantry are yellow bases, and the airborne are blue bases, and the Marines are green bases. All right, so let me show you what that looks like. Come over here to the board. And so like here are a bunch of Japanese militia out on the islands, and you can see they have all white bases. I'll find an infantry to show you the contrast. So here is this guy is a Japanese infantry unit, and he's got his sort of sand-colored base to him, right? So that's just a regular old infantry right there. But then standing next to him right there, that guy with the yellow base, that is a mountain infantry. So I can tell, and it's really obvious, even from a distance, when you see all these pieces all over the place, it's really easy to pick out that, yeah, that guy is mountain infantry, and that guy is regular infantry. And like, here we go, there's a militia, a Japanese militia, there's a Soviet mountain infantry, and then a Soviet regular infantry with the red base right there. So I just find that visually, it's really clear. I can see what's going on. So I actually have these color-coded to that. Moving down, so I have all the vehicle class units here, and you can see the exact same thing, right? Attack, defense, move, and cost, and then there's special values. With these guys, like, I can tell a cavalry a mile away. The motorized infantry and the mechanized infantry, I can tell the difference between them because one has wheels, the other one has tracks, right? But these units right here, the tank destroyer, the light armor, the medium armor, and the heavy armor, they all just sort of look like tanks to me. Even these self-propelled artillery just look like tanks. And so I decided to color code them as well. You know, I watched some videos online and saw like different people doing like different coloring of them. And so what I decided to do is color the turrets of these guys, and you can see what color. So the tank destroyers are yellow, light armor is green, medium armor is blue, the heavy armor is gold. Any advanced piece, I've been coloring them with metallic colors, so they're either gold or silver. And then the self-propelled artillery, these guys have a red turret on them. And you know, the artillery, I can tell an artillery and an anti-aircraft artillery, I can tell those guys apart, so they don't need any coloring. However, the advanced artillery, just to separate it, will have a gold turret, and then the advanced self-propelled artillery will be gold, right? So anything that is advanced will have gold or silver. Some of the ships have silver on them. So here, I'll show you what that looks like as well. Let's come on over here to the board, and I set out some of these German units, and like I said, they all sort of look like tanks to me. But you can tell like really easily when you see the turrets. You can sort of tell what they are, especially once you start getting used to the colors, or you can just simply glance up at the board. So like this guy right here, this guy has a green turret, so that's a light tank, right? And then the medium tank has a blue turret, so that's what this guy is right here. It's just the end of the turret right there. It's not very much. Here is a heavy armor. I'm sorry, was I calling them artillery? These guys are all tanks, right? And this guy is advanced, so he's got the gold, so you know that gold will stand out as like, ooh, that guy is advanced, right? And then this guy just looks like a tank to me, but he is a tank destroyer, and so he's got the yellow turret to him. And then finally the self-propelled artillery, which I guess looks a little bit different, but I painted them anyways just because they have the turret. So this guy has a little red turret at the end of it, and it just helps me, especially when I have like a big like a huge amount of pieces all in like one location. It really helps to pick them out when I see them. For instance, here's Berlin right there, and you can see there's a tank right there, and that blue just sort of stands out to me, so I know, all right, that's medium armor, right? And I find that is really super duper helpful. So that's what I do for these sheets right here and for the land units. The next page that I have are the naval units, and these guys are probably the most difficult for me to tell apart. I don't know, like when there's an enormous amount of a huge navy of Americans next to Hawaii, they just all look like a giant green blob to me. So I did the same thing here, right? All right, so you have your attack value, defense value, your move, your cost, and your special abilities. For all of these guys, and then this I have this extra column, this pink right here, which is their bombardment value. So for amphibious assaults, you can see what they bombard at. But then what I did was I color coded every single one of these guys, and I tried to pick colors that would stand out on the board. Some of them, like the submarines, I figured I didn't need to color them because they stand out so much. But the advanced submarines are gold, right? And so they're real simple colors: yellow, green, blue, red, you know, so on and so forth. And then anything that's special is going to have those metallic colors. So I'll show you what that looks like as well. Let me see here. I guess there's a Japanese fleet right here, and you can see all these guys right here. They're all, you know, from at just a cursory glance, they all kind of look the same, right? But those red tips right there of those heavy cruisers really stand out to me, and I find that it's so much easier to see what's going on with that, right? Those two green destroyers and then that light cruiser in between them, they just really stand out like that. And you can see my submarines, I didn't paint them at all, but their sculpts look so different that it's pretty clear and obvious what they are. And even just like looking from afar, like these white tips right there really stand out to me. So I can tell that is a transport from a pretty big wide distance. Whereas the Americans, I haven't finished painting this American fleet here yet, and some of them they just look like a bunch of green pieces to me. However, that red really stands out. You know, the white stands out. Any of the ones that are colored stand out really well to me, and so that's sort of why I did it, so that I can see what they are and be able to recognize what they are. And I spend less time trying to figure out what they are and more time actually playing the game. So I've got all those values and all that information all in one easy place to find. And then finally, this last piece of paper is for the air units, and there aren't as many air units as the other types of units. Same thing, they have their attack value and defense, movement, cost, and then any special abilities that they have. And then this purple right here is their intercept values. So I can see that as well at a glance. And this page right here, I only used about half of it for the air units. So what I filled up with the bottom of the page is I put all of the facilities. So these are the major, medium, and minor factories, and you can see here's all the different qualities of it and the costs. Here are my air base, submarine base, and seaplane base, and the icons. When I see that icon on the map, I can tell exactly what it is. These are my major and minor shipyards, dockyards, and ports, and what all they do. And finally, at the bottom here, I have my coastal defense and my fortifications, and that all fits on one page with the air units. And so those 3 pages right there, I spend a lot of time looking at these, especially when I'm buying units. I have these pasted up or taped up between the board and where I keep all of my money and boxes of units. And so I have to pass by it, and I'll just sit here in front of this while I'm purchasing units, calculating and seeing what all is available to me. It's like a little menu. And then it's also handy right next to where we're rolling the dice, so I can just glance up and double check what all the values are. I don't have all this stuff memorized at all, so it's really helpful to be able to see it all in one place. So hopefully that's helpful to you. You're welcome to use those and print them out, and yeah, if you got any Photoshop skills, you could probably even recolor all these guys right here. That would be pretty easy.